I found that me and you have one thing in common, our love of just fiddling and playing with our cricket bats. I used to watch you carry your bat to your room, and I read
Always.
that you take your sandpaper and you fiddle with
I had
those
one
bats.
kit. I had one kit where different numbered sandpapers were there, glues and steel wool and all those kind of things. Where I would repair the bat, sometimes to the extent where I would actually change the shape of the bat also.
And the World Cup game against England, was it the World Cup?
Against
you changed
England.
your bat, is that right? Did you?
Against England,
Yeah.
because Shehzad was bowling to me. He bowls a short of length ball to me outside off stump, and I smash it. And I couldn't have hit that ball better. And point fielder, I think Colin Wood was there. He stopped the ball comfortably. I said, wow, it's time to possibly change the bat, because it was not pinging the way earlier it did. And before that game, I started working on one bat, which is a good bat. And while doing that, I'm sweating and I'm telling myself, why are you doing this before an important game? You're not going to use this bat. You have your favorite bat and that's it. You're not going to use any other bat. And guess what? I asked for that bat. And I got 100 in that game.
Tucked away, that'll go fine. 5 World Cup hundreds for the little master. He is a genius.
And I played with that bat, and suddenly I felt that the ball was, going nicely off the blade. But it's difficult to change those habits, because, I would consider that was part of my preparation. I think it's a personal thing to me, I take a lot of pride in repairing bats and taking care of them, keeping them in pristine condition, though sometimes, adding glue here and there and using sandpaper and cleaning them. The naturalness of the bat goes away, but I enjoyed whatever I did. I enjoyed. I loved it.
Going back to that World Cup, how important a day was it for you, that 2011 World Cup, winning it here in Mumbai?
Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup.
The best moment of my life, without any doubt, because that is what I live for. That is what I started cricket for. For me, I've never experienced anything like that. How many times you have the entire country celebrating one event? The celebration was at a different level. Just from Wankhede Stadium to go to Taj, it took us, I think, hour and a half, and the distance is only 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. It was all jam-packed and the bus was not able to move, and then such was the excitement and people dancing on top of the cars and celebrating. I've never seen India like that. It was a big moment.
What were you feeling when Yusuf Pathan and Virat Kohli are carrying you around that stadium? What's going through your head?
Please don't drop me. No, it was a unbelievable feeling. It was special. For the teammates to do that.
And
pleasing.
Virat came out with a great line that day, and I was interviewing him, and he said,
well, he's carried the burden of the nation for 21 years, so it's time we carried him on our shoulders.
Very, very well said.
Did you feel like you had carried a nation around on your shoulders?
No, I knew I was one of the important members of the squad, but never did I think that, if I get out, it's all over. No, it's always a team sport. Yes, there are key players, there are key wickets that the bowlers want to pick, and I'd like to believe that I was one of those batters. And other than that, I felt 2011 was for sure going to be my last World Cup, and being the senior most player in the squad, I had my role to do.
Talking of Virat, when you first saw him around about that period, did you think he was going to end up as good as he is now?
I could see that hunger and the fire in his eyes. When he went to the West Indies, I think that was in 2011, he didn't have a good tour, but he came back and he started working on his game. The best part about him is the moment he realizes that there are areas where he needs to work on, he's immediately back in the nets working on those things. And a player can only move forward if he accepts and it requires a lot to accept, to admit, okay, these are the areas where I've not done well, and I need to go out and change these things.
He is about halfway through what you have been through. Is there any advice you would give him on the journey ahead? You know, the pitfalls, anything you would say to him to look out for?
I think he's in a good space. All he needs to do is, try and be in the same space. There are going to be ups and downs, and there could be bad tours, but that's not the end of the world. There are going to be ups and downs, but his method of preparing himself before a tour or before a game, I think is really nice, and he should continue with that.
At the end of that World Cup in 2011, you're on 99 hundreds. 370 days later, and 34 innings, you're still on 99 hundreds. I've read in your book that was one of the periods that you were fretting a little bit. Why?
I wouldn't say that I was thinking about it so much, to the extent where it would start affecting me mentally. But over a period of time, I got close to it. In fact, I think in Oval, I got out on 94 to Bresnan.
That's close, a long way down, gone! You better get this one right, it's Sachin Tendulkar. They don't believe it, Tendulkar doesn't believe it.
Dodgy LB.
I was going to say that, but I said we were trained not to say anything. So, no, all I can say is I wish there was a third umpire then. But no, anyways, that's part and parcel of the game. And there were also in Mumbai, I got out again on 95, trying to play a back foot punch.
Edged and taken. Stunned silence around the Wankhede Stadium.
In Australia, I was really batting well. Somehow I had this feeling that in Sydney I'm going to get 100, because Sydney, I've always done well at Sydney. So I thought, maybe Sydney is the one. And I got out again on some 80 something, 82 something. So somehow things just did not happen. And while all this was going on, people around me kept telling me about, oh, not to worry, and this is happening and that is happening. You just you just keep your cool. And there were a number of people advising me on what to do and what not to do. So on a funnier note, I was asked a question, what was the difference between the first 100 and the 100th 100? I said, when I scored my first 100, I didn't know there were 99 to go. And when I was stuck on 99 and people kept telling me what to do and what not to do, not knowing that there were 99 behind me. So I knew how to get to 100, but somehow it was not happening, and then it started building up. And I have to admit, it was a space which I had not experienced earlier.
But what I don't understand, you say that, surely you experienced that throughout your life. I mean, I'm going to tell you a story, and it's not a great story. Virat Kohli recently got out in South Africa, and a really sad story. Someone sets himself on fire, an Indian fan, and dies. That must have been what the pressures have been, Sachin or Virat, going out to bat, knowing that millions of Indians want you to do well. Isn't that constant with you, whether it be your first 100 or your 100th 100?
See, it was not about 100, but because there was so much being spoken and written about, then it became 100th 100. Because during the World Cup, nobody wrote like that. Suddenly the focus shifted from the World Cup to 100th 100. But till then, I had played, I think 3 or 4 games after scoring my 99th 100. But nobody mentioned about 100th 100. So the focus shifted, and it was kind of, drilled into my head, 100th 100. So even if the room service came with my food, said all the best for your 100th 100. Even if I was flying, then the air hostess or the ground staff would tell me, okay, good luck for your 100th 100. It'll happen. So wherever, the laundry person, whoever, the receptionist, wherever I went, it was about 100th 100. And I wanted to enjoy cricket and not just think about 100th 100. The 100th 100 would come. But I felt that it was, kind of drilled into my head, and it was difficult to stay away from that.
The moment came at Dhaka. I read somewhere that you kissed the badge, the Indian badge, and looked up at God and said, "Why did you make it take so long?"
I did actually. So if you see, after I got my 100, I kissed the flag, and then I looked up and I questioned to God, where did I lack? Did I lack in my commitment, or what was the reason you made me go through all this? Because there were bad decisions also by the umpires, and there were bad decisions made by me also, shot selection. So it's not just one-way traffic. Yes, it all added up. But eventually, I felt that I kept missing, which I shouldn't have. I think this was one chapter which I hadn't learnt in cricket. And maybe it was God's way of telling me that, okay, you've got 99, but it's not easy to get 99, so don't take things for granted. No, I didn't. I never. In fact, on our off days also, I would secretly go and practice. I would not tell anyone. I would just take 2 or 3 guys from the team, and I would just inform the coach, secretly go, just the head groundsman, and that's it. No one else would be there. And I would practice because I just wanted to, push myself as hard as I possibly could.
It all ends here. Your 200th Test match, a fitting place to end. How emotional a last Test match was that for you? You had all your family there. How did you feel walking on and off the Wankhede Stadium for the last time?
More so emotional because my mother was there, and my mother had come for the first time. She had never watched me play at all. Because for 24 years I've kept traveling, my mother has not seen me play. My mother doesn't know what happens in the stadium. So it became emotional, and in fact it became even more emotional when on day 1 in the last tour, I'm getting ready to survive the last tour. I said, okay, I need to come back tomorrow morning and then start doing whatever I have to. And every ball they kept showing my family member on the mega screen in the stadium, and that made me really, really emotional. In fact, before the over started, there was a camera on my mother where there was that priceless reaction from her, not knowing that she's been shown on that mega screen, and the whole stadium bursts into laughter. That was also a moment for me. And then my brother and wife, kids, everyone, so emotional moment for me.
And the speech at the end? You thanked everyone that was involved in your life, didn't you?
My life between 22 yards for 24 years. It's hard to believe that that wonderful journey is coming to an end. I would like to take this opportunity to thank people who've played an important role in my life.
I hadn't prepared anything, and I remember after we won the first Test match, flying back from Kolkata, I said, okay, the next few days are also going to fly by quickly. Before you realize it'll all be over, you need to at least think about what you want to say. So I was sitting by myself in the aircraft, and I said, who are the people I would like to thank? So I started making a list where I just wrote down the names, and I kind of roughly knew what I would say about every individual there. The idea was to have a proper press conference and, read out my speech, whatever it is. But I said, at this moment, the whole world is watching, and this is my last appearance. I need to go there and speak in front of everyone right now, because there'll be guys wanting to hear from me. So I, in fact, told the TV channel, they were going to ask me a couple of questions, and that's about it. And then I was to have a press conference later on. So I requested, I said, okay, I want to speak for some time. They said, yes, of course you can speak. I said, sometime doesn't mean 5 or 7 minutes. It might be longer than that. So I said, you can speak for as long as you want.
So it all ends in perfect symmetry, really. 200 Test matches, 100 hundreds, a World Cup winner. Did you achieve everything you dreamt of achieving when you were playing cricket at Shivaji Park, being coached by Sir, playing the Maidans? Had you achieved everything you wanted as a cricketer?
Well, as a cricketer, you always want to achieve more. because given a choice, I would have continued batting. I didn't want to get out. So no, I think I'm happy with whatever I did. Absolutely, without any doubt, I can say that it was possibly the best send-off I could have ever imagined, because there was a moment in my career where I would think about my retirement and I would always have that big question mark. How would that last moment be? Because that moment is going to stay with me forever. So I was just praying that, my last moment on the cricket field should be something really special. We should win, and that is going to stay with me forever. So I think when you have a retirement like that, you can't ask for anything more. I'm grateful, and I think it's been a memorable journey. So there are no complaints at all. Yes, there have been ups and downs, and there have been some moments where you look up and say, "Oh, why are you making me go through all this?" But I think it makes a wonderful package.
Sachin Tendulkar, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.